Welcome, everybody. Welcome to episode number 118 of Fraternity Foodie. I am your host, Mike Ayalon, CEO of Greek University. We call these episodes Fraternity Foodie because there is nothing like great food to bring people together. Today, we have with us Dr. Amy Novotny. Amy founded the PABR Institute with the mission to provide pain, stress, and anxiety relief to those who seek a naturalistic form of treatment when other methods have fallen short. Her unique approach comes from her experience treating a variety of settings and with a wide range of patient populations over the past 11 years. Her background in orthopedics, sports, geriatrics, balance disorders, nerve injuries, and most recently, chronic pain, and it influences from coursework at the Postural Restoration Institute. That's what gave her the foundation to develop this treatment method to address a variety of painful and restrictive conditions. So I am just fascinated to hear more about it because her methods have helped countless people reduce and eliminate pain, stress, anxiety, orthopedic surgeries, sleep issues, and the need for medications. She also co-authored 2 Amazon #1 best-selling books, Don't Quit, Stories of Persistence, Courage, and Faith, and also Success Habit of Super Achievers, which share her journey on how and why she developed this brand new PABR method. So I can't wait to learn more. Welcome to the show, Amy.
Thank you so much for having me on, Michael. I'm very excited to be here to share and to help your audience get out of pain, stress, anxiety, or whatever they need. So thank you again.
Of course, it's my pleasure. As you can imagine, college students right now are very stressed out. That is something they deal with all the time. So I am sure everybody's going to be listening very carefully to all of your words here today. Just a little bit of background, because I'm always interested to understand why people chose certain directions in terms of their education and life. And you decided on Arizona State for your undergraduate experience. So tell our audience, what made Arizona State the best choice for you?
Well, I have to say, growing up, I was a scared little girl in high school, and I didn't want to venture far from home. And so I tried out for a lot of the different, Ivy League universities. I actually got a full ride to Caltech, but I was scared to leave. To be honest, I was scared to leave. And I knew if I went to ASU, I had taken so many AP courses, I could start as a second semester junior going into college. And so I would just need a few more courses by the time I finished that first semester, I was a senior, and I could get, multiple degrees with my scholarship. So I needed that time to learn how to grow, to blossom, to know how to live in a world and not be terrified of it. But it was a great experience, and I definitely don't regret it at all.
Sounds like you had a bunch of credits coming into college. Another really good idea for those students who are listening. Get a head start so that way you can get done with your undergraduate degree quickly and then get on to other things, master's degrees and who knows what. But I think that's great advice for our listeners. So how did you get into helping people get out of pain and stress through breath work?
Yeah, that's a little bit of a longer story. I'll try to shorten it, but I originally decided to go into pharmacy, didn't like that. Then I decided to get my doctorate in physical therapy. So I went through the whole schooling, got out, started working in sports orthopedics, working with athletes, working a little bit and dabbling here and there in chronic pain. And about 5 years into my career, I realized it wasn't everything. I was changing people, helping people, but a lot of what I did and applied to them was something that was done externally. And so I started diving into breath work and how there's asymmetries in our body that affect our diaphragm, and how our diaphragm's asymmetrical and how that affects the way our body moves. And at the time, I was training for marathons. I had done several marathons, and I was trying to qualify for Boston. And the Boston Marathon, to qualify for it, you have to run pretty fast. And I started exploring, as I'm on the treadmill, how to change my breathing and how to change the way I position my body. And I stumbled on, if I changed my rib cage position and breathed a certain way, all that tension in my legs went away.
Hmm.
All of a sudden I could run faster and easier. And when I got off the treadmill, I didn't have the tightness, I didn't have the aches, the soreness, any of that. And so I knew I was onto something, but I wasn't really sure exactly what I stumbled onto. But I kept playing with it, and I got faster and faster. And next marathon I ran, 7 minutes off my time without any other changes. Only changed the way I breathe. Next marathon after that, 7 minutes. Blew past the qualifying times by almost 15 minutes. And so I looked at it and I said, okay, what exactly was happening? I realized I was calming down that fight or flight nervous system that kicks in when I was stressing myself out physically. And so I started applying that to my patients at the time and say, okay, let's alter the way you breathe and alter the way you position your body and see if we can calm down your nervous system to free up that gripping hold your muscles have on your body. And when I did that, people in chronic pain all of a sudden got free from it. They could reduce their pain. And it wasn't me doing it to them. It was them learning the skill so they could do it to themselves. And that's the most powerful part, is it wasn't something that they had to have me do to them for the rest of their life. So my job then began to become, how could I communicate to them to get them to feel a change in their nervous system? And once I could do that, it was a new ball game. I started helping people in different types of chronic pain. And then I started working with psychologists and psychiatrists to help them with their clients who had trauma, stress, abuse, a lot of mental and emotional, issues that they couldn't get past. Well, a lot of it was stored in their physical body, and they felt this restriction in their body. So it just held on to them, and they couldn't clear themselves fully until their body was cleared. And so I could teach them how to do that. And so now I teach people how to free your body up so that stress that you feel doesn't become imprinted into your body and keep you stuck.
Hmm.
And it's led to so many opportunities. I mean, I traveled all over the world with someone keeping them out of a couple of surgeries. I mean, so it's blown up, and it really does work. That's the powerful thing, is it works.
This is so interesting to me. I mean, obviously, I'm very familiar with physical therapy. I'm sure many of our listeners are familiar with physical therapy, but this seems like a whole new genre here that you're opening up.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, I started to experience some nerve pain in my right arm. I had this x-ray done. Lo and behold, I have a degenerative disc. Now I'm thinking that everybody has degenerative discs as they age. So maybe this pain happens to everybody as they get older. So, why do people believe that pain is synonymous with aging?
I think part of that is because we know our body degrades as we get older. We use it, wear and tear. So we associate any type of wear and tear with pain.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you think about it, you go to a doctor with some type of pain. They'll do an x-ray, they see some narrowing of space in your joints, and they say, you have arthritis, that's the cause of your pain. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily the case, though. So I've worked with so many people who are bone on bone, scheduled for knee replacements, joint replacements. And all we do is change the way their nervous system behaves. Their muscles release, their joint space returns, or they get more space, pain goes away. So I want to shift the way that you think about pain, not as a degenerative process or an aging process, but as a signal from your body to your brain that something is off position. So if you think of pain as tissues butting up against each other, it's basically a signal. If you can change your body so that the tissues are not butting up against each other, guess what? Your pain goes away. So even if you have arthritic joints, your cartilage is worn down, I want you to think about your stressors throughout your life. They're additive. They keep building over your life unless you know how to shift your body out of that. So if I take someone in her 70s, mid 70s, and she's having knee pain and it won't go away, I say, okay, let's look at your life. You've had a lot of stressors. Okay. At some point in your life, you forgot how to release the sympathetic tone in your muscles, that tension that develops when you're stressed. You forgot how to release that. Now let's teach you how to release that. Soon as she can feel that, the muscles start to release on the bones. The bones want to go back into a position that they're designed to be in. That leads to a decrease in the impingement. Pain starts to go away. Voila, she doesn't need her knee replacement surgery. And as long as she does a little bit of practice, guess what? She doesn't have to have that surgery. And I've worked with people, I have a lady psychologist, worked with her back in 2016, never had her surgery. She was scheduled. She had injections 3 times a year, anti-inflammatories daily for years. Same thing for you, Michael. You have this degenerative disc. Okay, guess what? That didn't show up overnight. Your pain showed up overnight. So my question to you then is, did some stressors show up in your life, or did you have, maybe some small stressors that were happening? Maybe you sat in a way. Look at what happened in your life right before this pain started. Most of the time people wake up with pain, and it's because the stressors have added up enough that when you were sleeping, your muscles tightened up enough, it shifted your body position enough, tissue started pinching. So now we just have to shift you out of it, teach you how to free yourself up. And it's a skill you can have. And once you learn how to do it, no one can take it away from you.
Wow, that is amazing. We have to get the word out about this. And, people like me, an entrepreneur, I'm under stress all the time. Any entrepreneur that tells you they're not stressed is probably lying to you. So how do you help entrepreneurs like me to perform at a high level?
Yeah, so one of the things that we work on is shifting the way you hold your body, the way you sense your body, and the way you breathe. For instance, most people, entrepreneurs, big time, they think chest out, shoulders back, let me create myself as powerful as possible, suck it all up and in, so I'm on all the time. When you are working on building a business and you have employees or you have contracts, anything going on, you want to generate as much energy as possible. Now, as soon as you shift yourself into this, I'm a powerful Superman position, you are now expending some of your energy on holding your body in that position. You are taking away energy that could be devoted to your focus, that could be devoted to your performance, devoted to your memory, devoted to just your ability to perform at a high level for a long period of time. So if you think about it, if I'm going to go run a marathon, I'm not going to stick out my chest and then push out my chest and do a sprint the whole entire way. I won't make it very far. I need to relax myself, drop my chest down, ribs drop down, belly comes out. Most people don't want to stick their belly out, but if you let your belly come out, your ribs drop down, it's going to shift you out of that fight or flight mode into relaxation mode. So now your energy can be devoted to focus, to attention, to performing, to your mental capabilities, because it's not being diverted to holding your body in this Superman upright, shoulders back, chest out posture that so many of us think that we need to be in. But if we can take a few minutes out of our day to calm ourselves down and do a simple breathing exercise, you start to be able to mitigate that stress, and you can perform at higher levels during chunks of time. And each time you perform at a higher level, but you still keep yourself calm, you can come out of it, just take a minute, do a little bit of breathing, then you can jump back into your next task. And so you start to shift how you perform. And so the quality of your work performs even better. And you don't feel like you're on edge, and if something happens, it's not the tipping point and you go berserk. You can keep yourself calm and realize, you know what? Nothing's more important than my health. I know I need to address this, but I can do it in a calm way that allows me to think through whatever just happened.
Wow. I am guilty as charged on that Superman pose. I'm probably doing it all the time and I don't even realize it. So maybe a little bit more clarification here, because right now college students, they're under a ton of stress because of the pandemic and the pressure for them to perform in a very difficult environment on college campuses at the moment. So how does stress influence pain in our bodies?
Sure. So I want you to think about these two different opposing systems. We have our fight or flight nervous system. If you hear a gunshot go off, let me tell you, you're going to tense up. That's your fight or flight nervous system. Then you have the rest, digest, relaxation. So college students, they're in fight or flight mode all the time. They're trying to learn how to juggle all their classes, do well, have a social life, learn how they fit in, have possibly a job, just negotiate being on their own for the first time. they're going to be at a heightened level. And of course, in the middle of a pandemic and not knowing if you're going to be in person, online, what have you, there's even more stress related to that. So every time you go into a stress mode, every single little stressors that you have out there, there is a corresponding change in your body. We've heard of the term cortisol levels. That's your stress hormone. We know that increases when stress increases, but there's also a physiological change in your muscles. Your muscles go on tension throughout your body to prepare you to fight, flee, or freeze. Now, that is useful in short bursts of time. If there is a fire, you need those muscles to kick in to run you out of the house. You don't want them on all the time. You want those muscles to release, because the longer they're on, the more they're pulling bones out of position. That leads to pain, that leads to tissues butting up against each other. Now, if you think about, let's say you go to lift a box. You lift a box, you use your biceps to lift up the box. You are voluntarily telling your muscles to contract to lift up that box. Now, let's say you're under a whole bunch of stress. There is another level of muscle tension that's added onto you using your biceps. Now, when people drop the box down, they release that voluntary contraction of their biceps, but if they're under stress, they don't release that added level of sympathetic muscle tension. So there's this underlying tension that's still in your muscle, and you can't fully let it go. Now, that's what we have to do, is train people how to let that go, because that allows your joints to go back into a position so it gets you out of pain.
Wow, this is so interesting.
So, and it's simple things you can do, really simple.
Yeah, I love this. And I know you're a photographer as well. You're really big into that. I think those pieces behind you, probably your work, right?
They are
That is
in
incredible.
Antarctica.
That is incredible. So how did
Yes.
you get to travel around the world using these methods?
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, I can help people get out of major surgeries. So a lot of times people fly in from around the country before the pandemic, where they would come in to learn to do in-person sessions to learn how to do this for themselves. And I had a world famous photographer who came in from Florida to Arizona and wanted to learn how to get out of pain so he didn't have to have a knee replacement. So I worked with him and got him out of pain. He went home, he went traveling, he feeling great, best he had in 40 years without pain, tripped and fell in some water and busted up his shoulder. And so then he came back, the MRI said, you have tears, you need to have surgery. I said, it's neuroprotective guarding that you're feeling. We can get you out of this. You don't need to have the surgery. Even though the MRI said it, even though his physician said it, I said, just give this a chance. And in 3 days, we got his arm up overhead again. And it wasn't without a little bit of pain at the end range, but he was told he wouldn't be able to lift above waist level without surgery. And so after that, he said, okay, I have some major trips. I can't miss them. I'm supposed to go to Antarctica. It's the first time in 8 years this Russian icebreaker is going to this really remote location in Antarctica to photograph the emperor penguins. I'll hire you. So I gave up my life. I gave up my life, my job, my world, everything to travel around the world to help him. And it was with his girlfriend as well. And so I helped him, coached him a couple times a day to help him get out of pain. And we ended up in Arctic Norway, Arctic Finland, all the way down into Antarctica. And when I came back, I said, you know what, I'm not going back to my old life. I'm going to start my own business, start my own practice, start sharing this with the world.
Good for you. That is absolutely amazing. And, I love to run, but, one of the things that I've noticed as I get older, I do start to experience various aches and pains, especially as we start to get the distance to be a little bit on the longer side. So can you teach me how to be able to run 50 miles pain-free?
Yes, I've actually done this with several people.
Okay.
And I've done this many times myself. So it all comes down to your nervous system and how you breathe. So when you're running, most of us think when we're running, we lift up our chest, lift up our ribs as we breathe in and out. When you do that, that causes you to hinge off of your low back. You can even do that to yourself right now. All of you guys listening, if you lift up your chest, pull your shoulders back, you can feel your low back muscles kick in. As soon as you do that, it's going to tip your pelvis forward. You're going to cause more wear and tear on your knees and your feet. So if we can get you to drop your ribs down, and then when you breathe, you're not lifting your rib cage up, but you're actually using your diaphragm in a different way, you can keep your low back relaxed, your pelvis in neutral. So the running motion goes through the joints the way they were designed, not in an off-kilter pattern. So when they go through the joints the way they're designed, you don't get those aches and pains. All of the stuff starts to go away. And let's say, I've run mountains before and it's not going to be a flat surface. Let's say you're going up and you're on a slant, and so you're going to be off kilter. So because you're going to be off kilter, you may get some aches or pains somewhere. So what you do is you practice this breathing method where you blow out, you let your belly out, you drop your ribs. And so you start to figure out, and this is a process I teach, but when to do a heel strike during your breathing out process to feel a hamstring kick in to keep your pelvis in neutral. And that goes with every part of your body. So if you have hip pain, there's certain things we do, knee pain, certain things we do. But this is how you get someone through a 50 miler without pain, is at a certain point, your nervous system's going to ramp up, something may tighten. So you just have to work really hard on calming that nervous system down. The muscle frees up. Your legs now move freely without that tightness. And you just keep doing this all through the 50 miles. So if it takes you 10, 12 hours, practice. And of course, most of 50 milers are out in the wilderness. So you get distracted by a deer or some birds or the scenery. So you're going to get off kilter, and then, you have to check yourself constantly. Okay, is my nervous system calm? Okay, nope. Time to work on the breathing as I'm running. And then the pain just goes away.
Wow. I'm 45 years old and I'm just learning how to run today at 45 years old.
That's okay. I teach people how to walk again when they're 70 years old and how to breathe again. Don't worry about it. You're ahead of the curve.
So many of our college students that are listening right now, they might have experienced trauma in their life.
Yeah.
They might have experienced abuse in their life. So how do you help them get relief?
Yeah, so I do a lot of virtual sessions. So I have clients all over the world, and I do this virtually. And so step one is teaching them how to calm down their nervous system. So we go through a seated breathing process, and it sounds funny to pay for learning how to breathe, but it's actually learning how to shift your nervous system. So we have to work on getting the rib cage down and get away from a lot of the preconceived notions that they have about how to hold their body. So as we go through that and we work on the belly button coming out as the rib cage drops down, as you exhale, they feel this wave of relaxation going through their body. Now, the other thing is then we start to piece apart that person. Where are they holding their stress and anxiety? There are certain areas of the body like the armpits, the upper trap area, the low back area. There's a spot right below the breastbone where we hold a lot of tension from trauma, abuse, stress. And so we work through freeing that up. Breathing is a common denominator in all the activities I have a person do, but it's a lot of moving the body into different positions and learning how to use the arms and legs differently so the body can free up and you can feel the stress go out of you. And so I teach them skills so that way, if they're in the middle of an exam, if they're in the middle of a performance or speaking, they can incorporate those skills so it calms them down and they can feel that they have control over their body again, which, let me tell you, frees you up immensely. I used to be, as I said initially, I was terrified. I couldn't speak to more than one person at a time. Now I speak to audiences of 300 people and I get up and I let my belly out, ribs drop down, all of that, because I can calm myself down and I realize I'm not in a stressed situation. I'm not in danger because I know how to control that part of my nervous system now. And that's what I teach college students, is how to be able to do that and perform at a high level so that they can achieve their dreams.
Wow, this is great news for our college students who are listening. You can work with Amy virtually. So look at
Yes,
that.
anywhere.
Everybody can now work with Amy. This is amazing news. This is wonderful,
Yes.
wonderful. Keep up the great work. And before you know it, those crowds of 300 are going to be 4,000 pretty soon.
Yes.
You're going to have some college campuses that are going to be contacting you saying, hey, tell me more about that breathing because we need that on our
Yeah,
college campus.
they
So
do. I welcome them.
that's awesome. All right. And, we do love good food here at Fraternity Foodie. So we have to take a moment to talk about good food. What's your favorite restaurant there in Scottsdale, Arizona? What are you usually ordering?
So there is I'm a little bit of the very foodie extreme. So I do plant-based, but I do have a restaurant for you that meets everyone's diet's needs. So it's called El Charo.
Okay.
It's considered actually a destination restaurant in the Scottsdale Paradise Valley area. People come from all over the world to host events there. And they have the most amazing quinoa mushroom pesto dish it's to die for. One of the best I've ever had. But they have stuff for everyone. And the great thing about it is they have several acres of land. So they can put you in tables outside. They have heaters if it's cold. They have fans if it's hot. And there's fireplaces going all over. It's truly a foodie experience because it meets every single one of your senses.
All right. Well, El Charo sounds right up my alley. My mom
Yeah.
actually moved out to Prescott Valley. So the next time I go and visit her,
Oh,
I'm taking her to Scottsdale, and we are going to make this
yes.
happen. So we just need to get past the pandemic, and then we can do
Yes,
something. Well,
absolutely.
this has been a lot of fun. So if our listeners,
Yeah.
let's say they want to connect with you, they want to work
Mhm.
with you remotely and learn about your
Yeah.
services, where do you recommend that they go online in order to connect with you?
Yeah, so they can go to my website. It's pabrinstitute.com, PABR Institute.com. They can also, if they want, and I offer this to them, if they want to do a free 15-minute consultation, please send me an email. That's Amy at PABRinstitute.com, PABRinstitute.com. And I say, please reach out to me, send me an email. Let's do that free 15-minute consult because it allows me to really know how I can help you. If it's through free videos, if you want to do something one-on-one, if you want me to speak to a group of, individuals, college students, that gives us that connection. And I don't mind taking the time because I really want to help people out and whatever it is their needs are.
I really appreciate you helping everybody today and learning a little bit more
Yeah.
about what it is that you do and what you've unlocked here, because this has been all new to me and it's been fascinating. So hopefully our college students are going to start reaching out to you in droves right now to learn more about this. So thank you so much
Yes.
for spreading the good word here. And who knows, I mean, hopefully you're going to save people from going under the knife. Maybe if they do these
Yeah.
breathing exercises, they don't have to do all of that, right?
Absolutely. And especially right now, while you're young,
Mhm.
learn this skill now because I can't tell you how much more beneficial it's going to be for when you get older. It will really save you a lot in healthcare, a lot in medical costs if you can learn this skill now and it will really boost your ability to perform and achieve what you want.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Amy. Really appreciate your time. To all of our listeners, if you liked it, please like it and share it with others that might have interest. And we'll see you on another episode of Fraternity Foodie. Bye for now.
Thank you.